Chapter 12. A New Hope, Nier. 2B and 9S seem to fit into our little dynamical quite well, with 9S's more exuberant personality making up for the rather serious personalities shown by the rest of the YoRHa models. Not that 2B was difficult to be around or anything, she just had a very cool personality unless something got on her nerves, which would make her far more animated, like when 9S tried to have me ride one of the passing moose and she looked to be within an inch of tanning her hide as 9S literally cowered behind me as I laughed at the situation. Speaking of which, 9S truly was small in this form, as she was only 4.6 feet tall. Apparently, it was to allow them to get into tighter areas as a scout, along with being less noticeable than their dummy thick combat model counterparts. So, she was truly able to use me as a meat shield as 2B stomped toward her. 9S, what were you thinking allowing Jake to ride that moose? She cried as she tried to circle me and get her hands on 9's, who likewise spun around, keeping me between her. I thought he wanted to unleash his inner Canadian. 9S cried, frantically dodging 2B as she gave up trying to go around and just hugged me as she reached past me and failed to grab 9S, who sped off towards the bunker, seeing her shield compromised. Irresponsible fool. 2B growled and went to disengage the hug, but I wrapped my arms around her and brought us back together for a few moments as she tensed in my arms. After letting 2B free of my hug, she looked a bit flummoxed, so I explained. If someone jumps into my arms, it's only fair that I hug them back. I grinned, making her huff, but I was able to see the slight smile at me being affectionate with her. Fine. Let me go give 9S a talking to now, she demanded. I shook my head and patted her head, making her squirm in pleasure at feeling my now practiced hands making her melt against me. Yeah, androids are weak to head pats and handholding, go figure. It's okay 2B. I coaxed, making her reflexively nod with the motions of my hand. 9S just wanted to help me have some fun. Even as I was putting her in bliss, I saw her blindfolded face snap at me. Wait. You are the one who wanted to ride the moose. Hee hee. Wait 2B, what are you doing with that rope? I quickly made my escape towards the bunker and threw 9's into her path, but before I could even make 3 long strides away from her, I could hear her rapid footstep approaching. I was soon being escorted back into the bunker, but I was able to negotiate a lighter sentence than being trussed up in a rope 2B found, and was in my own thoughts, rewarded with her holding my arm between her breasts as she dragged me back into the bunker. 9S, where are you? She called out as all the androids who were sitting around unanimously pointed at an upside-down box as 9S took the first obvious hiding spot. Unfortunately, she wasn't Solid Snake, and when the irate 2B pushed me into E6's confused embrace and told to hold me and not let me escape, I feel E6 thought I was going to try to escape their protection like when we first met, so she held me a little too tightly as she forced me into my cot and lay beside me like an anchor, holding me down. As 2B went to uncover the box and probably give 9S the earful of a lifetime, 2B's pod crackled to life and Commander White's voice came through. 2B, I have a mission for you and 9S. The YoRHa commander's voice came through her pod, making her cluck her lips in frustration at not being able to berate 9S as her superior officer gave orders to the duo. 2B, the Resistance Army is facing heavy resistance from an enclave of machine lifeforms that have built some form of carnival and is being led by a Goliath-class machine that must be destroyed lest the Resistance Army take too many losses. 2B nodded at receiving her orders, and after clarifying a few viewpoints such as location and possible number of enemies, she saluted her pod as she said, "Glory to mankind." But as Commander White left control of the pod, 2B already turned to 9S menacingly. So how long is it going to take us to get there? I asked cheerfully, making the whole room go silent and the looming 2B to freeze as everyone turned to me in surprise. It was A2 who stomped over to me and poked my chest as she growled. You will be staying here with the twins and E6 as I stretch my legs. I almost laughed in her face, but I just smiled in response as I looked towards the twins. If I can't go on the mission, would I be welcome in the resistance camp? Honestly, I was getting stir-crazy staying in this dark bunker, and the eternally bright sky didn't help in keeping track of the days, as I would just sleep when I got too tired from work. The twins shared a look and shrugged. I thought you wanted to keep a lower profile, but I can be sure that you would be most welcome there, even if they may try to get you to make a speech or something to bring up morale. I grinned at the pale YoRHa models, who were obviously getting reamed by an operator or Commander White, if the way their pods in unison turned on them and started making buzzing noises was a solid indication. Finally, it was decided that E6 would be staying with me and the twins, and I was going to be allowed to go on an excursion to the resistance camp as 9S, 2B, and A2 went to take care of that Goliath. Not to mention, with 9S and 2B gone, me and E6 and the twins can be intimate again, even though I feel bad about excluding A2, but I can probably find some solo time with her after the mission is over. I thought gleefully at finally getting out of my base, and maybe if I could get a couple of solar panels or something I could power the video game systems and TV I kept here when I switched over to a flat screen and Xbox 360 and PS3, so I kept the older generation's consoles down here in the bunker. I would love to see A2 and 2B fight on Super Smash Bros., even though I know for a fact with how competitive A2 is she will likely break a controller and possibly my TV.